Hello, I'm Heidi Westman Neal, an author in the middle of her career and with a new haircut. Coming to you from my grotty little office where sometimes I write novels like this one. And you can too, but first, you need a Bible. Now that you're about a week into November, you should have laid down some impressive wordage by now. And it's only going to get bigger. Now's the time to do future you a big favor. Time to create a series Bible. For authors, this is a companion journal that keeps track of facts for continuity's sake. For example, our heroine's eye color. In chapter 1, it's gray, but by chapter 5, it's green? Or our hero during his day. At the beginning of chapter 3, it's morning, sun is shining, birds are singing, and then 2 hours later, night falls. Where'd the day go? A series Bible keeps track of little details that sometimes drift thanks to our complex, overoccupied brains. I create one for every novel I write. My series Bible develops along with my work in progress. As new information comes to light in my manuscript, I note it down in my series Bible. This is not the same as pre-writing your manuscript, where you develop your outline, come up with your characters, their backgrounds, plot arc of the story, though all of this can go in your series Bible. That's structural and may not contain all the small elements of your story. The continuity in your series Bible will also contain the finer details for the purpose of keeping facts straight while you write, things that might not initially show up in your outline or your pre-writing if you're a plotter. If you're a pantser, obviously you won't know any of this stuff until it happens and you write it down. But as it happens, keep track of it. You're going to need it later. Some noveling software, like Scrivener or YWriter, includes tools for keeping track of these things. I find it so convenient, which is why I'm a solid convert to noveling software. But if you're using a writing method that doesn't have series Bible tools built in, you need to develop your own. You'll need a notebook or an electric file that is separate from your work in progress. Some people like Excel spreadsheets. Others prefer paper notebook. Whatever works for you, doesn't matter. And you'll want some sort of structure. Doesn't have to be overly complex. Maybe you'll devote a page to a character, or you might draw your outline in your book. Whatever works for you, as long as you keep track of information. The structure for my series Bible looks like this. Character list. This includes names, ages, descriptions, connections, ties, or any other information that I will rely on as my story progresses. A timeline. What happens when? I'll often organize this by scenes. This can include information like what time of day it's happening and how long the scene takes, but can also include references that I've made within the scene. For example, I have a character who mentions that in 3 days' time, they're going to go to the ball at Almack's. Now, as everyone knows, Almack's balls are always held on a Wednesday. This sort of information helps me from making a mistake of having said character show up at Almack's tomorrow. After all, that would be Monday. Locations. For me, this isn't too vital, but for other authors, they need to keep track of locations, especially with ginormous worlds and complex maps and being all over the place. This would be especially useful for fantasy authors, or for those writing about earthly locations that they might not be familiar with. Do I know how long it takes for a horse-drawn carriage to go from London to Canterbury in the 19th century? This information can go in my series Bible. Items, sometimes called MacGuffins. For some genres of writing, like mystery, crime, science fiction. Keeping track of various items is useful. If I'm crafting a mystery, I'll want to keep track of important clues, like the stack of enchanted letters or the signet ring. But also, I may want to keep track of my red herrings, like the silver ribbon. There may be other details that you want to include in your series Bible. I have developed a habit of updating my Bible as I go along. When I mention a detail in a scene that I know may be important, like eye color or a MacGuffin, I'll pop over to the appropriate tab in my noveling software and make a quick note. By keeping track of these details, I ensure good continuity, which makes for a stronger novel. It also makes for more efficient writing time. If I'm in the middle of a scene and I need a fact from an earlier chapter, I can look it up in my series Bible rather than going back and reading through that scene. So what's so dangerous about rereading a scene during NaNoWriMo? The temptation to edit. This temptation to edit when you're rewriting work you've done grows stronger, and you'll find yourself nibbling away at an earlier chapter instead of creating new draft. Don't get distracted. The whole idea behind 50,000 words in 30 days is to get the draft down. You can always edit in December. A series Bible will help you keep the words flowing and make for a stronger first draft. It will also contribute to a better second draft come December or January, as you won't have to rewrite entire scenes that got derailed by a misplaced fact. I hope you're having a good time writing and that you're not falling too far behind. Keep it up, keep up the good work, and I'll see you tomorrow for another pep talk.